Hey, babe, welcome back to the Pleasureful Podcast. I am your amazing host, Lauren Schaefer. This is the juicy space where we turn on your woman by accessing your feminine energy so that you experience more pleasure in dating and relationships. Literally, it feels good. It feels like ease. It feels like expression. It feels sexy. It feels safe. You feel good being seen. Your feminine is for you to feel good. I wish I had known that earlier on in my life. By tuning into your body and turning on your most authentic expression, this is what turning on your feminine is all about. This is what it means to know yourself as a woman. As a turned on woman, dating becomes enjoyable. It's an extension of your life and an empowering way for you to heal and grow, which energetically aligns you to the man that you desire. You become a match for the man because you are treating yourself like a woman. And we're going to talk about perhaps why you're not treating yourself like a woman. So the journey gets to be full of pleasure. Let's jump in. I am so happy to be back recording the Pleasureful Podcast. It has been just about a year. So much has happened. I am still living in Mexico. I moved here a year ago, not knowing how long I was actually going to be here. But I did sell everything in the US and was like, here I go. And that's a whole nother story for another episode that I'll do on desire. But it was literally me following my heart's desire, trusting the unknown. And that was really me stretching into my feminine of like, I know that this is for me, but I do not have all the answers. And so I'm going to trust and take the leap and go for it. I'm going to allow myself something that feels good, that feels exciting, that allows me to be on the edge of my own vulnerability and just go for it. So this is that journey has a lot of feminine threads throughout it, which will be discussed over many episodes of this podcast. But today, I really want to talk about turning on your woman, because I feel like even over this past year, I have turned on my woman so much more than even just a year ago when I was talking a lot about feminine energy, knowing that I was putting a lot of the principles of feminine energy into practice, into dating, into my day-to-day, because essentially turning on your woman and being in your feminine energy is building relationship to yourself as a woman. And I know you might be like, well, I do have a relationship to myself. I do know who I am. But at the same time, there might be so many layers of conditioning where you're not actually truly allowing your fullest authentic expression to come through. And I'm going to let you in on how to know if that's the truth. Because when we're living under layers of safety and layers of I should do this and I should do that, because so therefore we're doing what feels safe, what feels familiar. These things are our conditioning that we learn from a young age to survive. And so this is what is your subconscious programming. And we operate as humans. 5% of our day-to-day is conscious, and 95% of that is like, the 5% is just the tip of the iceberg, and everything below that, 95% of how we operate is on autopilot. That's our subconscious. That's the way we've learned over the past, 20, 30, 40 years, how we've learned to operate. We've learned how to be. We've learned how to survive. So turning on your woman is about waking up, waking up that program, shaking up that program, and actually reprogramming yourself to be the woman who you want to be today, the woman who you actually are. It's not even the woman who you want to be. It's the woman that you are remembering yourself to be. Because in my world, in my, philosophy realm, but what I have studied, I believe that energy is everything. And I studied that first with Joe Dispenza, but I listened to a lot of Abraham Hicks. So both of those are really good resources if you're into energy. But essentially, it's aligning yourself back to your true authentic soul's essence. So I believe, and if you're in my world, you believe too, that you are a soul here having a human experience. And our soul knows just what we want, just what we need. anytime that we feel out of alignment, which we know that to be a negative emotion, or we know that to be, oh, I don't like that, that means we don't feel good. So we know that we're out of alignment when we don't feel good. So I started to realize after dating a lot in my 20s, dating mostly long-term relationships, I started to realize like this doesn't feel good. And I would get out of relationships and I'd be like, why didn't that work out? And why did I give up so much of myself for that person versus just being who I truly wanted to be? So like, when am I going to be who I truly want to be? Is it someone that's going to all of a sudden make me feel safe enough to like, boom, then I'm going to feel good enough to be who I want to be in a relationship and be expressed how I want to express? So we learn through this contrast. We learn what we don't want through negative feelings, through not feeling good, through experiences that hurt. We learn through those experiences, we learn what we do want. So this is why when we get out of our conditioning, which is a lot of masculine energy, it's a lot of overly masculine energy. Masculine energy is a beautiful thing, and we have masculine energy. But our masculine energy is in our mind. It's when we're strategizing. It's when we're analyzing. It's when how do we be more efficient? How do we plan? How do we execute? All of those things. And that's a beautiful energy. But when we're doing too much of that, we are just thinking all the time about how others are doing it. We're thinking a lot of how we've done it in the past. We're thinking about how can we avoid, pain in the future. We're overanalyzing, what someone thinks about us. Why do we even care what someone thinks about us? What's most important is our relationship to ourselves. So your masculine energy is then a lot in your head, and your feminine is all about your body and feeling good. So this is why when you turn on your woman, your essence of who you are, you're going to feel good more often. So it's taking yourself from this overly programmed, conditioned, you could also call it over-functioning, because if you're doing, executing all the time, overthinking, overanalyzing, all of the things, this is going to exhaust you. If you've ever been the one to constantly make the plans, when you're dating someone, this is your overdoing. Where is the man? Where is he stepping up into his true essence of, being in his masculine? Or where is that balance between the two of you? Because of course, a woman can plan a date, no problem. But also, we are the ones that are kind of like, I want to say most at risk in a dating situation, but we are the ones that, we're the ones positioned to bear life, to create life. Therefore, we're trying to find a partner who is going to protect and is going to provide. That is our true core essence as a feminine natured being. So if you align with, wanting to be in your feminine in a relationship, if you align with wanting to be the one who, really feels good, in a way that is like she wants to emotionally express, you want to be sensual, you want to be sexual, you want to be protected and provided for. But of course, there's going to be a part of you too that wants to do that for your partner every now and then. That's why it's about a balance. And so you yourself as the woman, we're taking you from this overly, and because I've had to do this myself, this overly conditioned masculine to then turning back on, remembering your feminine essence and the power of your femininity. So if you've listened to some previous episodes, you may have heard this, but as a reminder, like the very things that are so powerful for the feminine, such as your vulnerability, such as your sensuality, such as your emotionality. These things are the things that get shamed, that get said that we are weak, that are inconvenient. But here's the thing. It's actually, those are the very things that make us a beautiful match to the masculine. And it actually makes us this like magnetic creature that a man wants to be around, that a man, his primal essence wants to take care of, wants to protect, wants to provide. And that's going to look different in every relationship, but it gives him a chance to truly feel into his own primal essence. We are animals. That's just how we are. But unfortunately, we've grown up in a society and through, our parents who didn't know any better, but they, had the best of intentions, but, taught us how to be safe in the world versus how to live with an acceptable and appropriate, I guess, a healthy amount, let's say, of discomfort, of leaning into the edge, of being vulnerable, of being expressed. But we learned along the way that becomes risky, that our desires are risky, and therefore we've suppressed so many parts of ourselves. And this is true for masculine men as well. Like their feminine has been suppressed as well, as far as their ability to be vulnerable and be emotional, have emotional intelligence and things like that. But they're waking up too. So trust me. And it looks so different for men. This is just a little side note, but something to keep in mind is just because a man isn't in therapy, or just because a man has never been on a men's retreat or had a men's coach, men go through their own awakenings differently. In my own experience, I have noticed a lot of men waking up to their full, masculine essence through divorce, even through the loss of a family member. And so there are alternative ways that men come into this work. There's a myriad of ways that they can come into, their own inner work. But just know that it's probably going to look a lot different than women. So women, we're actually the ones more so seeking the ways in which we can improve ourselves, the ways in which we can, because we want to feel good. That's actually our inner knowing, our inner being is actually seeking to feel good. It's seeking the solution. And so we're being guided towards, okay, we're so off course here. We need to get, into, working with coaches and working in therapy and going to retreats and being around women and building communities of women. Everything is kind of guiding us in that direction for us to feel good, for us to feel heard, for us to feel seen, for us to feel expressed. Okay. So turning on your woman is, at its core essence, is about feeling good. And it's funny because most women would say yeah, I do feel good. But it's in the very minutia of your life. It's, you did something on Friday night, whether it was, who you hung out with or the type of activity that you did or whatever. And it's, how do you feel on Saturday? How do you feel on the weekend? How do you feel going into work on Monday? Are you excited about your life? Do you feel good getting on a dating app? Because so much of turning on your woman means taking your power back. And what is power? Power is just energy. So it's deciding where your energy is going. Is your energy going towards things that make you feel good, or and where you feel appreciated and where you feel celebrated? Let's make that the standard for the people that you hang around and the types of activities that you do. Or are you going in places and in front of people where it feels draining, where you feel misunderstood, where you're just not yourself. You're having to put on a mask, or you're having to play a role. And that becomes draining because you have to think about okay, I have to be this other version of me. And that's exhausting. It's also why dating becomes exhausting when we're not fully authentically ourselves, but we're stuck in this but it feels too vulnerable to be who I am. So I'm just going to be this person he wants me to be. But then it becomes exhausting because we have to upkeep this version. So turning on your woman at its very core is about you feeling good. And unfortunately, it's not unfortunate, actually. It's about enjoying the journey, but it's a process of coming back to yourself, of rewiring your own beliefs, because those are built on the thoughts that you're thinking every day, and really how you treat yourself. How you treat yourself. What is your relationship to yourself? Your relationship to yourself is literally the gold standard. because that is what is going to be mirrored back to you by a man. He is going to treat you how you treat yourself. So are you treating yourself like a queen, or are you treating yourself in a way that doesn't respect your boundaries, doesn't respect your time, doesn't respect your interests and all of that? So just always remember that this is why dating is healing as well. We're going to do a whole episode on this too, but dating is healing because it is quite literally a mirror for yourself to say, do I want more of this? Do I want less of this? What is this showing me? What am I learning from this? Even when we get into partnership that feels really good. I was in a partnership this year that felt so good. And it did bring up some of the dark parts, the scary parts that I was, that I previously have been very shy about showing about myself. But because of the work that I've done, it was like practice and play for me to express myself in certain ways, to ask for certain things, especially in like very vulnerable sexual instances, because part of turning on your woman is being very transparent and expressed and vocal in your sensuality and your sexuality, really honoring that part of yourself, because our sexual energy is our life force energy. And when we are playing a good girl role, when we're just trying to, do everything right, say everything right, be appropriate, we're also likely following the guidelines of society that says that, sex is taboo and, it's reserved for partnership, or it's, whatever storylines it is that you hear. But, essentially that it's something we don't talk about amongst friends. It's like, that's not something we talk about at the dinner table. If you're friends with me, more often than not, like in our first or second conversation, like sex is coming up for sure, because it is a part of life. It's something that everybody does. Why are we not talking about it more and more? So when you go from the good girl to that is like suppressing these, I would say these dark feminine traits. Dark feminine just means it's like these taboo, these things that have been labeled taboo. Our sensuality, our emotionality, that like sexy sensualness, our rage that actually gets to be very powerful for us, that we can alchemize and transform into love. So these darker parts come alive. This is part of turning on your woman. It's part of being your disruptive, primal woman. It's the woman that's not afraid of her womb, and the woman that's not afraid of her period. I talk about my womb and my cycle and my hormones and things like that on Instagram all the time. It's owning and knowing the rhythm of your woman. Ooh, I said the other day we've talked about this a little bit today, but desiring a relationship is desiring to become more of yourself. And you do that through dating. And when I listened to Abraham Hicks the other day, they had a line in their video that said, really wanting things in life, such as a relationship, is an excuse to tune yourself to the rhythm of who you are. And that's exactly in line with dating is healing. Dating is a mirror, because you are seeking to have experiences, and you're even seeking to have experiences that are showing you contrast, that are showing you things that you don't want, so that you can claim and be more of who you are. You can claim more of what you do want. So I'm so grateful for my past relationships that showed me what I don't want. And I even had relationships earlier this year, or about a year ago, I guess now at this time, that had 80% of what I was looking for. And then that last 20%, it was like, ooh, this crunchy desire to like claim that I really want a partner who's going to treat energy like sexual energy with me and have it as like a sacred space. And this is something that I've wanted ever since like getting out of my long-term relationships in my 20s. And then once I was 30, I was like, oh my gosh, like I haven't been experiencing the things that I want or getting the depth that I've wanted. And this was all guiding me back to the rhythm of who I actually am, and getting more into my soul, getting me back to my soul's essence. And it is vulnerable to claim those true core, our heart's desires. And so, like I was saying, a year ago, I said no to a relationship with a man who I was like, well, we don't see eye to eye and have the same vision for how to treat sex in a relationship. And there was like a little bit of a language barrier too, but like we were getting the gist of it. Like it just wasn't the same. I could tell from our intimate interactions, we weren't having sex, but I could tell just from everything before that, that it wasn't going to be treated the way that I wanted to. And I was communicating as much as I could, like how I want it to be treated. And he just didn't have the understanding of that, the interest in that. It was something he just wanted to glaze over. And I was like, no. For me, no. This is like a sacred sexual experience, because when we're with another man, when we're with a man, we're taking on their energy. So for me, it's super important for me to know where a man is at with that. And I would encourage you to be discerning about it as well. I'll get into that in future episodes as well. This season, I suppose this is like a new season of the podcast. So there's more to come on that. And claiming that desire, I was like, well, if I'm going to walk away from this man, even though he has 80% of what I am looking for, I was like, I am willing then to believe that there is someone out there that is going to match my desire, believe that my desire is meant for me. And oh my Lord, what was it like? About 2 or 3 months later, I happened to be in salsa class and chatting with, well, it didn't exactly happen like this, but eventually I had a conversation with a man in person and we connected, and he asked me out. And at first I was like, okay, yeah, this is like friends getting to know each other. But anyway, we ended up talking about like, okay, what would it look like to have a relationship together? And I put everything out on the table as far as like who I was, what I was looking for, how I wanted certain things to be treated in relationship based on what I've experienced before. And he was like, wow, like he's like, I've never met someone like you who's so clear about what she wants and how you want things to be treated. And he was like, I'm open to this. And that's the thing. It's like when we are able to communicate to someone what it is that we are desiring, we see, and that's when we communicate that desiring, that's us being in our feminine, that's you owning this essence of your woman, of her desire. And what's so important is to see, how does he respond? It's so important. I feel like that's even like literally almost too, like that's really how we get to knowing if someone is truly meant for us, if someone's truly going to make us like feel good in relationship. Are we going to be safe? Are we going to be seen? Are we going to be, respected? It's like, how does he respond to you in your feminine, to you in your most vulnerable, to you in your most emotional states? So me being able to do that up front with this man, he was like, yeah, I'm open to it. And let's see where this goes. And we had a wonderful relationship. One that was so super expansive for me. It felt like I was with him for 5 years. Like I've never felt so soul connected. And I truly believe in soul contracts with people here on earth. I've dated multiple men where I'm like, yep, you came into my life for a reason, to show me either multiple lessons, or to really expand me into what is possible. And with this man in particular, we did not work out because of future vision alignments. Long story short, I want to have a family and kids. At least that's where I believe my desire lies right now. And he's done that before and does not desire to do that again. And so he has a beautiful vision for his own life and providing for the children that he currently does have, which is absolutely honorable and beautiful. And so it just goes to show that dating truly is healing, and it truly is so expansive. And when you are when your woman is turned on, this is not just like a sexual turn on. This is she knows what she wants. She's talking about it. She's expressing it. She's being vulnerable. She's in integrity with how she is feeling, and you're feeling good more often. That makes you so magnetic, and it puts you in such an empowered place. You're no longer on autopilot, because the most beautiful thing about being using your feminine and being in your feminine is truly experiencing in the moment. Because as women, we have this beautiful thing called intuition. And when our body is sensitive and attuned to our intuition, then we know what is for us and what is not for us. If we can truly honor listening to it. Now, I'm not saying I'm 100% perfect at this, but it's like, does this feel good or does this not feel good? And we will learn from the mistakes that we make too, where we're like, see, I knew that thing didn't feel good from the start, and yet my mind overrode my body and I went for it anyway, and it turned out to be sort of a chaotic mess, and therefore I'm not going to do that again. I'm sure you've had instances like that, right? Whether it's in work or whether it's in dating or whether it's in something with a family member. It's like we look back and we're like, I knew from the beginning. I knew that was off. And that's okay. We learn from that, and it's learning over and over again. Okay, so this is what turning on your woman is. I don't want women to override their bodies anymore. And trust me, I'm still practicing this. It's always a practice. It's never going to be perfect. It's all about progress. But when we take ourselves from reprogramming from this overly masculine conditioning and we bring ourselves into an empowered state of knowing and being closer to our soul's essence. Also, too, this is a lot about when we're in the overly masculine condition, oftentimes when we're so in our mind, we're super operating out of our ego. I have a mentor that says it's either ego or eros, and eros is pleasure. And this is why I've named this podcast Pleasureful, is because when I originally started this journey, I was like, wow, I'm feeling no pleasure. Well, not no, but little to no long-lasting pleasure in my life. I was like, I have everything written down on paper. I've got, the job and the live-in boyfriend and the nice, car and the social life and the belongings. And I have the bank account to, get most of what I want. And I just was like, why does life feel so dull? And it was because my conditioning had washed me out of it. And I was not a part of the creation of all the things that I'd had. So when we are in our feminine, we are creating, and we are creating from that like soul essence, with truly like our essence in mind, because we're creating what feels good, not just what someone else said. We're creating what feels good. And that's different for every woman. And like, as far as like what your preferences are, what feels good. Like, where it is that you want to live, what feels good. I decided, a year ago I was going to leave the States because I was like, I've been here, I'd been in Austin for 8 years, and I was like, this just doesn't feel good anymore. And I just knew I was itching for something new. I'd had Mexico in my mind for a while, and I was like, this is it. We're going for it. We got one life to live. Let's create this. I want to be the creatrix of my life. A turned on woman is the creator. So when we're in our good girl, we're trying to control. We're trying to control the outcome. That's what I did all through my 20s. Oh, I'm going to date this guy because he's going to be the one that I'm going to get married to, and I'm going to have kids with, and we're going to have, flourishing careers and a house with a white picket fence and all of that. So I was controlling, but truly, and I was trying to control things outside of me, control the fact that the man loved me, control the fact that we're dating and what's the status of the relationship and all of the things. I was just checking the boxes and making sure that we were progressing along. If you are resonating with this, DM me on Instagram, let me know, because I feel like this is such a common thing. It's like we are just trying to get the boxes checked, and we don't think we're doing anything wrong because this is what we were told to do. And well, I decided to learn from my mistakes, and I decided to really take a hard look at my life and be like, okay, this does not feel good anymore. Like I said, I got washed out of all of it because I wasn't truly creating. I was just following a strategy that someone told me to do. I was following the steps the path that I didn't want to be on. So you don't have to make super drastic changes in your life, but this is just to show you where you can really start to show up and create for yourself in your life versus controlling. The only thing that you can truly control is yourself. And so this is too about taking your power back. This is about owning your energy, because your energy is finite to you. Like what you do day to day is like what you choose to do with your energy, and what you don't change, you are choosing. So choosing to do something, choosing to create with your energy, choosing to create in a way that feels good, maybe choosing, to do something a little bit outside of the box, to do something a little different, but also follow what feels good. The intuitive ping of like, I'm going to go to yoga today, or I'm going to go to this cafe, or I'm going to walk a different route. Like, what is it that would light you up that feels playful and curious? This is such a big energy for the feminine, to be playful and curious and let go of the outcome and let it be just unconditional play. I love, one of my favorite energies is playfulness for the feminine. So this is huge. So going from this conditioned, controlled, overly masculine essence to then letting that protective guard down so that your feminine can be like, oh, I am safe to be me. Because we no longer live in a world where we are literally trying to survive from like animals that might eat us. We are in a world where we are actually meant to thrive. And this is huge. It's a huge realization for us to align our energy so that we literally become the match for the man that is going to come into our life. We also, like when I look at this amazing relationship that I had this year, I looked at him and I was like, oh, I did this. I allowed him into my experience because of how playful I was being, because I followed the ping, my interest, my desire to go into salsa classes. I wouldn't have met him elsewhere. I mean, maybe randomly, but I'm just not sure. So it's like we follow and go where we feel good, and then we are open to the possibility, because all possibilities exist. This is a quantum theory like principle. All possibilities exist. And I love living by that, because I think so often we're focused on the problem of being single versus, oh, there's so many possibilities. If I just stop focusing on being single, if I just stop focusing on wanting the man and just know that me feeling good means I am actually aligning to him, then we let go of that resistance. But trust me, it's not as easy as it sounds, because it takes practice and this rewiring of like so many years of conditioning. But that doesn't mean it has to take a long time. I have seen with my clients amazing results, like moving so quickly through things. And some are going to move faster than others. And I want my clients to move faster than I did, just because it took me like, I don't know, now at this point, like 2.5, 3 years to like really turn on my woman. I'm like, but I was meant for this, because now this means I can help women do it. And I can help women really create beautiful relationships with men, because together we awaken each other. And so I hate the limiting belief of there's no good men out there. Like that's just not true. And when you're a turned on woman, you actually are creating the man that is meant for you. When you have strong standards, when you know what you want, you just don't settle. And we allow men to rise through that. They can rise to what we want, and we don't have to take it personally whether or not they want to. So holding the faith and the belief that your desire is meant for you will get you there. When I went through a breakup this year, I have some of this on my Instagram as well, but I'll probably do an episode on it. But my breakup after this short 2.5 month relationship that felt like 5 years, it felt so expansive. And I also felt like I was so protected by my desire because I wasn't abandoning myself. And this is what happens so often as women abandon themselves, because we're afraid to be truly who we are and claim what we want, or we make him not being able to give us what we want. We make it about us. We make it personal. And that's just not the case. We have to also honor another human being's truth, a man's truth. I had to honor his truth in what it is that he's willing to provide in his lifetime. And he's going to give that to his current family. And I love that for him. So turning on your woman, we're going to go so into it and so many different angles this season. I am so excited. DM me on Instagram if something really landed with you here. I would love to know how you are receiving this. And you can share any other insights that you have with me there. And there will be so much more to come. So stay tuned for future episodes on the Pleasureful podcast. Thanks for tuning in with me today, babe.